Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this week I've been daily driving this 2025 Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S. And honestly, the best part about the GLE 63 is that you don't have to have it in coupe form like this one. Mercedes will still sell you this as a traditional SUV with a normal hatchback. And no matter which way you have it, whether it's a coupe or a traditional SUV, they all feature a 603 horsepower, 4-liter biturbo M177 V8 engine. 627 pound-feet of torque. They all have the 9-speed speed shift automatic transmission, and of course they're all 4MATIC plus all-wheel drive. So the recipe for excellence is here. It's all just kind of wrapped up in the wrong body, in my opinion. But if you look at it from the front, you can't really tell. And that's kind of where I want the coupeness to end with this video. I don't necessarily want to review this as the coupe because it drives the exact same as just the regular SUV. So kind of ignore the back half of this because this is seriously an excellent vehicle, and I've very much enjoyed living with it for the past few days and about 150 miles. So today we're going to talk about what that's been like. We're going to show you what this is like to daily drive on a bit of a commute to downtown. I was hoping we'd have a bit of a prettier golden hour situation tonight, but there are some clouds and what's looking like storms over there. But luckily we're actually going that way into the blue sky, so maybe we'll have some nice weather. But before we do all of that, let's talk about what we have in front of us. Now, this was facelifted in 2023. It's now 2025. There's not really a whole lot new with this mechanically. In fact, the only new thing they've added is a little fingerprint scanner on the center console to let the car know who you are. But otherwise, all the changes are aesthetic as far as color choices. This particular color we have on this GLE today is brand new. It's called Silicon Gray, which isn't silicon like what they make plastic surgery out of? There's got to be a joke there somewhere. But anyway, I think it looks quite nice, and it's a bit darker than some of the other flat grays that we've been seeing from other companies, a bit darker than Nardo Gray, for example. And then inside, Mercedes has introduced this new package for the GLE called the MANUFAKTUR Interior Package, which is a $10,000 option. And it's absolutely stunning. You can have 3 different colors. This one's finished in Carmine Red, and it extends to the steering wheel. We have a red steering wheel on this car, which you guys know I love steering wheels, and well, that's quite a nice one. Mercedes also adds what they call sumptuous headrest pillows, and you can see they're color-matched red, and they do say AMG on them, and I suppose they are quite sumptuous. But we'll show you more of the interior once we are done with the walk-around, but those are really the only differences. There's a handful of new exterior colors and interior colors, and I do actually quite like the spec on this. The gray on red is quite tasteful. We also have these optional black 22-inch wheels, and we have the optional carbon ceramic brakes. Keen-eyed viewers will have already noticed the gold calipers there. More of an orangish gold, though, not like the kind of lime gold that BMW does on their carbon ceramic brakes. But these are absolutely massive. Kind of a traditional looking AMG wheel on this, and these tires are huge. 285/40 ZR22 XL on the front, and on the back, prepare yourselves, 325/35 ZR22 XL. So, I mean, look at the rear tires on this. Everyone that's seen this car this week, my friends and family that have seen this, have just, the first thing that they say is, oh my God, those tires are massive. And yes, they are. This is a Continental. What sort of Continental is this? A Sport Contact 6. So I think this is actually Continental's newest kind of summer performance tire for the street. Look at this. The sun is poking out. Oh my goodness, yeah. And I think, honestly, overall, I always poke fun at these coupe SUVs, but we have seen them in the past to be decently useful. We had a BMW X6 last year, and I kind of demonstrated that you could still live with that. I put some stuff in the back, and it all worked out quite all right. And I mean, you do, of course, sacrifice some cargo room and some headroom in the back, but I took this to dinner last night, and I took my dad. He sat in the back seat. He's 6'1", and he had plenty of headroom. I think you could probably be up to 6'3" and still fit in the back of this. So, with all that being said, and with this beautiful lighting, let's open up the, what do you call it, the lift back, where you can see there is actually a ton of room lengthwise back here, and underneath the trunk floor, even more storage. So you could put a spare wheel in here. Though you'd have to get a pretty big one if you wanted it to fit over those big carbon ceramic brakes, but you do have a lot of room in here to fit stuff just not stuff that's very tall. We have some little grocery bag hangers back here. We have a little car charger, kind of traditional cigarette lighter style outlet. We have a button back here to raise and lower the air suspension, which this has quite the sophisticated system. This has what Mercedes calls Active Ride Control Plus. So it has a 4-corner air suspension and adaptive dampers, and it kind of mitigates body roll. We saw this system first, I think, on the Maybach GLS, or at least I did. I'm sure it existed prior to that vehicle, but it's kind of the benchmark for me. I mean, these Mercedes SUVs do such a great job just completely tuning out body roll in the corners. It's very impressive. Now, I'm coming directly from a Cadillac Escalade V. That's what I was driving last week. So this does feel a bit like a Lotus Exige after that, but I'm still appreciating it for what it is. It's a big 5,500-pound V8 SUV, but it does handle a lot smaller than it actually is. In the back seat, we can see this beautiful Carmine Red. Once again, we'll actually sit back here and show you what room is like as I bump my head. Getting into the interior, of course, you have to kind of watch that with this sloping roof line here. It's funny, when I got into this car, I was expecting it to have soft closed doors, but no, Mercedes charges you $550. It's a standalone option if you want soft closed doors. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. But we have a standard Burmester sound system, which you know we will be testing out today. Optional carbon fiber trim, 2 seat back pockets. We have our own climate control panel back here. Of course, we have some rear seat vents, some USB-C ports, and a little fold down center console with some cup holders. But overall, I mean, sat back here, I'm sitting fully up at 5'11" behind myself. I mean, I've got plenty of leg room. I do have enough headroom, and you can see there's a little bit of an extra cutout behind our moonroof. They do stop it in an appropriate place so they can maximize that headroom back here in this coupe. But remember, you don't have to have the coupe, and that's the best part about this GLE. For some reason, I was under the impression that Mercedes had stopped making just like the regular GLE 63, but no, you can still have it, so that is all good. Let's pop the hood before we jump up front and go for a drive. So this is the M177 4-liter V8. Mercedes has this in pretty much everything these days, and so does Aston Martin. This is a very widely used engine, and I absolutely love it. This is a hot V, so our turbos are right here. Mercedes conveniently has this little hole in the engine cover so you can see those turbos, and this is a hand-built engine. Tom Phillip is the gentleman that made this, so great work, Tom. I've had no issues with your beautiful craftsmanship this week, and it sounds quite proper as well. Lots of carbon fiber up here. You can see on our core support, that is all carbon fiber. And man, in the day of cars having boring engine bays, this is one that I really do quite like looking at. All of these now get the special AMG roundel, which I think is nice because the Mercedes badge is a bit redundant. That's just a massive badge there on the front, which if you would like, you can pay for that star to be illuminated. A lot of other companies doing that now. I think Mercedes is actually who started that. But in a way, honestly, I know this car seems a bit ridiculous, but AMGs are supposed to be ridiculous. They're, they started as an independent company, not even part of Mercedes, just tuning up normal E-classes to have like 400 horsepower back in the 1980s, and they were called the Hammer back in the day, so maybe it's okay that it is ridiculous. This one doesn't have the towing package, but if it did, it could tow up to 7,700 pounds, so quite usable in that respect. Up front, I already gave you guys a bit of a sneak peek, told you what comes in this MANUFAKTUR interior package for the most part, but what I didn't mention is that you get these very nice illuminated AMG door sill panels, I guess. And then you also, actually go over to the passenger side to show you this, you get the special little MANUFAKTUR badge on your interior trim. It's worth mentioning that you can't have this with aluminum, because I think this badge would blend in a bit too much, but that looks quite nice, and it lets everyone know that you spent an extra $10,000 on the interior of your GLE. All right, let's jump in and we'll go for a drive. These doors feel so nice, and I wish that all Mercedes still had these door handles. This is only the 4th generation of the GLE. It was Prior to the GLE, it was called the M class, and some of you may or may not know, I used to own an ML55 AMG, so kind of the super old predecessor to this exact car. And Mercedes, they were just built a bit different back in the day, and some of the new ones that have those stupid door handles that retract in, they just don't feel quite as nice. But these door handles feel pretty good. These actual doors themselves feel nice as well. All of the materials in here, I mean, nothing like creaks or squeaks. I mean, they've got this put together very, very nicely. Let's go ahead and jump in, and we'll fire it up. Maybe we'll do so with the door open so you guys can hear this 4-liter Biturbo. And this is a mild hybrid, so you don't hear the starter motor engage. And you also don't hear any bings or bongs. I don't know if that's a thing you can turn off or if this car is having some sort of an issue, but there is absolutely zero startup chime in this GLE 63. I don't really know what's up with that, but we're going to bump this into individual mode and open up the exhaust valve and give you some revs. So this is a very low, sort of grunty V8. And I don't know if it's because I didn't have a palate cleanser between the Escalade V and this, but I wish it made a little bit more noise. It makes a good noise, as I've stated, but I wish it just made more of it. A couple little pops and burbles there. Sometimes AMG will offer some kind of an elevated exhaust, but you can't do it on this. I went on the configurator and I built a couple of these. There was no option for a louder exhaust. So this is it. You're going to have to go aftermarket if you want your GLE to be louder, or just bust out the Sawzall, I suppose. Inside, this is the same interior that we have known for quite a while, and I love it. Lots of physical buttons, and it just feels so nice. This MANUFAKTUR interior pack also wraps the top of the door panels and the top of the dash in this fine Napa leather. Very nice stitching all throughout. And I love these kind of Porsche Cayenne-esque handles that they have here in the middle. We have a touchpad for our touchscreen, or you can just use it as a touchscreen. Either way, love when you have multiple ways to do stuff. Physical climate control panel, kind of. It does all exist in the infotainment as far as like the climate menu, but you get to it via a physical button, and you can adjust all of the stuff down here as well. It's really just kind of a visual representation here, but everything you can control down with this row of physical buttons that are really nice to touch. They make very nice clicky noises, so love that. This has a heated steering wheel. It's got heated and ventilated seats, obviously all that stuff, and those are also physical buttons over here on the left, minus the steering wheel that is in the infotainment. This has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all of which works very well. Burmester sound system, as I mentioned, sounds fantastic. We have a physical dimmer switch here for the screens as well. Lots of very good ambient lighting here in the cabin. You can see this ultramarine poking through the bottom of the dashboard and the door panels. Mercedes is the king of ambient lighting. They're kind of the ones that pioneered this whole phase of ambient lighting in the automotive space, and I love them for that. I love these 4 symmetrical vents here on the dash. I mean, it's just a beautiful interior. The steering wheel with a leather-wrapped airbag cover. Nice to see that in a Mercedes that isn't a Maybach. I think I had a... No. Oh, it's about to start playing Pink Pony Club. Yeah, you can't say the M word in here, or it will trigger the person that lives inside the infotainment screen. But what was I saying? I love this steering wheel. I think the SL63 that we had did not have a leather-wrapped airbag cover, so maybe me complaining about that is putting that in some of the cheaper Mercedes products. Well, when I say cheap, the GLE 63S starts at $130,000. This one as spec'd with the carbon ceramics, the AMG Night Package, the black wheels, and the MANUFAKTUR interior package, as well as a couple of other standalone options that we will put in the description for you, is $161,000. So this is going on a $200,000 GLE. It's quite extreme, but so is the performance. So let's go out on the road and show you what it is like to drive. Normal column shifter, we have that here. Reverse camera pops up, as well as a 360 camera. Parking brake automatically disengages. Love to see that. And this is very quick steering in this car, as you can see. Not the lightest that I've ever felt in a Mercedes, but considering that this is an AMG product, I don't think it should be like pinky light. It's at a pretty good level And I've still got a little bit of weight here, but it is still very luxurious feeling. Into drive, front camera pops up. Very, very nice progressive throttle tuning here. A little bit of Sport Contact 6 ASMR for you. These are a very sticky tire. This air suspension does a beautiful job soaking up bumps. I mean, over that speed bump there at about 8 miles an hour, can barely feel it. Where I noticed this the most, actually, is leaving the driveway at my house. You really don't even feel it. It's very, very impressive. Brake pedal feels nice as well. I mean, honestly, all the inputs in this car from a daily driving perspective are fantastic, very fluid. You do hear this V8, it's got good induction noise, you do get the odd boost noise, but other cars that have this engine do kind of accentuate it a bit more, like to bring up that SL63 again. Lots of good noises from that, and I was kind of expecting that here in this, but you simply don't hear as much. I think with this having a nearly 3-ton curb weight, some of that does lie within sound deadening. I just love a good V8. I've been a little thrown off by the sumptuous pillow, to be honest, all week. It's been just like kind of throwing my driving position off. Like I feel like my head is a bit too far forward, and you can't really move the headrest forward. You can move it up and down, but that is pretty much it. All right, we're gonna do a bit of a performance loop here, and then we'll jump on the highway, we'll commute this to downtown, do our normal stuff. What I wanna do now, let's talk about drive modes. We'll cycle through these real quick. You have a number of them. We'll start in Sport. Sport's kind of useless when you have Sport Plus. But I suppose you could say Sport Plus is useless when you have Race. There's a lot of different options for drive modes here in this GLE. And you can also take manual control of this 9-speed speed shift with your steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Ooh, it's raining! Just in time for us to hit a fast corner. Oh my goodness, the grip on this thing. This thing absolutely rips. It's for a 5,500 pound SUV, this is just, these are crazy numbers and crazy feelings coming from this. A couple little burbles. You guys can hear there, kind of the odd burble. A couple different ways you can view this cluster as well. I'm going to put us in track pace for a second. This is kind of standard across the board Mercedes stuff, all these different gauge cluster designs. If you know AMGs, you know the way that these drive modes work on the steering wheel, which I love. All these toggleable settings. It just makes it so easy to dial in the exact sort of drive mode that you want to have. Now this actually doesn't have launch control, which is kind of silly, but you just brake boost it, and I guess technically it does have launch control, it just doesn't tell you that you're doing launch control. So let's do this. Apparently this can get to 60 in about 3.4 seconds, so let's experience that now. Yeah, I believe that claim. But with this active roll stabilization, you don't really feel the front end lifting as dramatically as you would in something like an Escalade V. the brakes. Whew. Ride quality here is great. I'm actually going to put this into my individual mode. Now, I've got this set for everything in race, pro, whatever, gearbox and manual, but traction on and suspension in comfort. So this is kind of my streetable setting, and this is a bit of a rough section. What is the weather doing right now? It's full sun, beautiful golden hour, and it raining. Can never really explain Michigan. But ride quality is beautiful. That's the best word I can think of to describe it. Make sure you're on it with these paddles because it will hold gears. It's so fast. There's really not a lot of drama here. And obviously we have this super sophisticated suspension, we have a limited slip differential, all sorts of AMG bits on this car, but what it does so well is the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing, and I always bring this up when I'm in either an AMG or an M car, because there are some renditions of BMW M cars and Mercedes-AMG cars that don't do that very well, but I think this does it the best. That was a Ford Escape making all that noise. This does it the best, I think, out of like 90% of the ones that I've driven. I mean, it really does hide its sportiness so well when you're just driving normally. Bump this thing into comfort. We're going to put this cluster back into just the classic couple of gauge pods, which I do really like. And it just settles down so beautifully. And I do say that a lot, but this one really, really does. I mean, it's so quiet, it's so reserved. All of the inputs soften, the ride gets just beautifully serene. It's quiet in here. Right, okay, now that we are on the highway, we can talk about kind of some daily driving impressions here with this GLE. The first thing I want to do is press my physical button here next to my little touchpad for the infotainment screen that takes me to my car menu, and I'm going to re-toggle on my active lane keeping assist so we can show you all of the driver aids here on this GLE. Love that that is a quick access menu here on the infotainment, and love that you can easily just get back to your CarPlay or whatever you're doing. Super easy to toggle on and off your cruise control. We've just got this set at 70 here, chilling in the right lane. This will steer for you, as you can see it doing now. And it looks like about 10 seconds. Will this do a lane change? Aha, it will! Look at this. I haven't tried this yet. In my 147 miles I've driven this car, I haven't asked it to do a lane change by itself. That's fabulous. Okay, Mercedes has been doing this for a while, since the latest generation S-Class came out. I remember I had one in 2021, and I was pretty impressed with this whole driver assist system. And they've now integrated this into a lot of their other models, and it really just does a great job, and it doesn't necessarily rely on you to always have your hands on the wheel. Beautiful vent placement here. You've got a nice big one here on the left-hand side as well. Elbow comfiness here is decent, and the only reason I say decent is because of the design of this center console. You do have a bit of a hard portion between your little wrist rest, I suppose you could call it, and the actual split folding console here. But if you put your elbow back far enough, it's totally fine. And as a very low-cost option, another thing that should just be standard, Mercedes will sell you heated armrests. So they'll heat the console and they'll heat the door panel for you. I have had ones that have had that option selected, and they're fantastic for when it is cold outside. But driving position, it's pretty high up, though with the kind of low down hood of this car, I can see very well in front of me. I can't see the hood, but I do have the seat currently in its lowest position. But visibility out of this is good, except for out the back. I can't really see anything. I mean, you guys can see that. It's dark because of the tint on the rear glass, and also just the fact that it's a tiny little rear window. So you can't really see out the back of this. It could use a camera mirror. That would be beneficial. But otherwise, blind spots and everything, not really too big of a problem here on the GLE. These Continental... It thinks I'm asking it to skip tracks? What? Continental interiors? No. No. Okay. I believe you can turn her off. Actually, I think you can ask... Oh, okay. I think you can ask her, like, funny stuff. Hey, Mercedes. What do you think about BMW?
Close acquaintance. Mercedes even manufactured series car bodies for BMW in the 1930s.
Wow, that was very polite of you. I thought you'd say something snarky. My friend Omar had one of these, or a similar, some kind of Mercedes product, and he asked it that, and it said something a bit snarky back to him. But that was very polite. Okay, very close partners. Anyway, all right, what else do we have to talk about on the highway? Well, I'll give you a chance to observe our NVH. Ooh, it's also worth pointing out, this is currently running on 4 cylinders. I haven't heard a ton about reliability with this M177 and its cylinder deactivation. So Mercedes might have that. Oh, crap. Okay, it didn't trigger her. MERCEDES may have that figured out a bit better than General Motors. I know some of their V8s have been exploding lately from the cylinder deactivation, and maybe you can tune that out. But even with the cylinder deactivation, this is only rated at 16 miles to the gallon combined, 19 miles to the gallon on the highway. So far this week, I've done 152 miles, and I'm at just about half a tank. I don't know, can I see on here? Okay, so today, I've done 13.1 mpg. Okay, let's get this back into individual. We're going to put these windows down. I don't really think this is going to make a ton of noise. And okay with good induction noise, but from the outside, not a whole lot. I mean, some noise. Nothing really too throaty, which a little bit of a letdown with this being an AMG Mercedes, but at the same time, I mean, does a buyer that's buying a GLE coupe really want this car to be like overly raspy and loud? I'm not really too sure. I mean, if I was buying one, I would. I suppose that's what companies like Brabus are for. As far as downsides on this car, I can't really think of any. I mean, it's very expensive. So I would recommend buying one that's a couple years old, because they've been the same since 2023. As long as you're okay without the sumptuous headrest pillows, obviously that's new for 25, but you can get over that and not having a red or a blue or a brown steering wheel, then this is pretty much the same car as it's been since 2023. And you can have those now for under $100,000. So you'd save quite a bit of money there with a used or a certified pre-owned vehicle. I would say the interior feels a little bit dated, but it really doesn't. I mean, it's been the same for quite a while, but they've modernized it just enough with this newer steering wheel. It's fine, and I like having physical buttons. It's just been a really nice car to daily drive because it is so split personality. It really maximizes that. It does such a good job. All right, well, as we get into downtown here, let's test out this Burmester sound system and see what you guys think about that. You got this physical little volume roller down here in the center, or you have this haptic control on the steering wheel. I usually like to use this. cut this a little bit short just because we are almost at the end of our commute, almost to the parking structure. But this is just a fantastic sound system. I've got this set right now to my personal sound profile. Mercedes will let you kind of tune that in yourself. You can toggle it on and off very easily. But this is a very rich, powerful sound system, and these Burmesters are really no joke, especially in these higher end cars. They always do a very, very nice job. I mean, I'd almost classify this as S tier, maybe like an S minus, but it's almost to the level of like a Bowers & Wilkins in a Volvo. It's very, very impressive. So have really enjoyed driving around, listening to good music. Look at this, Fiat 500 Abarth Cabrio. Proper car right there. Auto stop start, easy to defeat if you don't want to have it. It's a physical button right next to your engine start stop button. But with this being a mild hybrid, it does a good job kind of beginning and stopping without any drama because you don't have that starter motor. So it doesn't bother me too much. I've been leaving it on. I suspect this GLE is going to be the perfect height to grab a ticket at our favorite parking structure here. Oh, turning circle is really quite good. And this doesn't have rear wheel steering or any of that fancy stuff. Check this out. Perfect.
Please proceed into the lot.
I've grabbed it so quickly that our favorite little ticket booth couldn't even finish his voice prompt. Now you guys can see this wonderful ambient lighting in here in ultramarine. We might cycle through a few different colors while we're in the structure here. But this is always a good chance to test out maneuverability. Mercedes does some of the best steering. It's very, very quick and luxurious feeling. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Obviously, we have this in multicolor with all of our animations toggled on. My favorite one is ultramarine. Okay. Make a few noises. All right, let's kill that. No one will suspect the big gray SUV is making those noises. It's another one I like, Miami Rose. I mean, these are all good. Malibu Sunset, that's another fantastic one. I like Red Moon as well. But ultramarine is always my go-to. It's kind of just the signature of luxury, I think, in one of these Mercedes vehicles. All right, well, as we get out onto the roof, let's sum this up. I mean, this is just such a quality product, and this is one of those vehicles that is getting to the point where it is feeling a bit old, but it's aged so well. In a world where a lot of vehicles are going towards strictly screens, Mercedes will still sell you some buttons and a V8 engine. And some 325 section tires on the back, and something with 603 horsepower that weighs almost 3 tons that goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. I mean, just such impressive numbers from this, and lots of impressive feelings as well. I mean, this has been just a treat to live with this week. It's easy to drive. You could put your grandma in this, and I think she'd be just fine. So I would say this car completes its mission very well. There aren't really any gotchas with this where I'm saying, oh, I wish they would have done this better. I wish I would have done that parking better, but I'm setting up for to be facing the wrong way, I suppose, in this diagonal spot. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that Mercedes got this right, and through a couple of meaningful facelifts, they've got this so well dialed in. When we turn this off, the parking brake will automatically apply. Really love that feature. I fear I forgot to show inside of this trapdoor where we have heated and cooled cup holders. Okay, anyway, let's wrap this video up. That's been my take here on the 2025 Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S Coupe. Quite an impressive piece of engineering, and honestly, I feel like this does fit the bill for a very traditional AMG product. Very big, very powerful, very fast, and very pretty. I mean, even though this is a silly coupe, you have to admit that it's quite attractive. And this full red interior and all of these different manufacturer interior colors that they are offering these days do kind of remind me of like an 80s AMG S-Class that would have just had all one solid color interior. So they're going back to their roots a bit, I think, with this, but it's all turned out quite well. And as I've said a million times, I've had a great week with this car. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. Let me know if I left anything out, but I think that was pretty well rounded. So that'll do it for the AMG GLE 63S. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.